Most people are like, "Aw, what?"
Hold on.
This guy, you know.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year, Dylan!
Oh shit! Is it the new year already?
Yeah, it's January 3rd,
Oh my
technically.
god! I've been asleep for 3 days. Fuck, dude. What happened?
We're a little late / early, not to break the immersion.
What happened? Oh my god! Have robots taken over the city?
You know, but there's been like weird drone sightings over in New Jersey and New York lately.
Uh-huh.
Like big, yeah. There's these like drone sightings at night in New Jersey and New York. Apparently, like some people are saying they're like huge and massive, and the United States government has no fucking idea what they are.
Yes, they do.
But apparently, they've been hovering around one of Trump's golf courses there. I don't know, man. We got a guy who we got a guy who assassinated a CEO of a health insurance company.
Yes.
The CEO of Enron just got hit in the face with a fucking pie today.
That's not as good as getting shot.
No, I'm just saying, like, I, for one, am welcoming the class war.
When you said today, you were incorrect because you meant to say a few weeks ago because it is now the 3rd of January.
Yes.
You've been asleep for a long time as well. We both just woken up.
It's
guys.
like I'm like Rip Van Winkle. I had a dream I was bowling with some giants, and then I woke up with a massive beard and having slept for 50 years.
Yes. I mean, we've both been very sleepy recently. So please don't. If we say stuff that might not chronologically make any sense, just please blame that on the sleep.
Yeah, blame that on our Rip Van Winkle disease we got going on.
It's a great disease, man. I wouldn't want anybody to get any kind of disease, but if you have to get one, this one's a pretty good one to get.
This is the one to get.
This is the one. Get the we get the sleepy disease, you know. Otherwise known as being strung out in heroin. Right?
Just doing some black tar heroin.
Doing some real fucking bad stuff, man.
Yeah, that's how you killed Wolverine.
Is that? Oh yeah, drugs. Wait, how did they really kill him? What was it?
I think you guys went with
drugs
drowning him.
Good. You guys said drugs was not a good way to kill Wolverine.
I'm just more fascinated by it because, like, they explain in the comics that, like, he drinks and smokes for the taste because his body's repairing itself the entire time. But I just like the idea that.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts in the Morrison run was there's a bit where Cyclops and Wolverine are at a bar drinking.
Yeah.
And Cyclops is going like toe to toe with Wolverine, and I'm like, dude, he's Wolverine. I think he says in the comic, he's like, dude, I'm Wolverine. Like, I don't get alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
That's why I drink. You know.
That's why I drink in excess.
I used to get really annoyed. I always say I understand why you can't put like cigarettes and stuff in comics because you can't glorify that.
Yeah.
But like, the reason Wolverine smokes cigars is because it doesn't affect him at all.
Well, that's Gambit used to smoke cigarettes all the time, and I was like, you know, I get the point. I get why they did it because I remember being like, man, he's cool as hell.
He was cool as hell. You want to be cool? Smoke cigarettes, kids. That's how you do it.
Smoke cigarettes like Gambit.
Listen, I know this isn't cool to say. It's actually the truth. If you smoke cigarettes, people are gonna think you're cool. I know it sucks.
Cigarettes make you cool.
It's not. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's a good idea.
So
it's the truth.
So in the pantheon of tobacco consumption or nicotine consumption, is vaping as cool as smoking cigarettes or no?
To me, I think vaping is really stupid.
Really?
Yeah.
I know a bunch of people who vape.
Right, but they're all idiots. No offense.
Some of these people listen to the podcast, so sorry, guys.
Guys, listen. I'm sorry you had to hear that, but be more like Wolverine and smoke a cigar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Because the thing about obviously they're all bad for you, right?
Yeah.
But if you break it down, you know what's in a cigarette. It's like nicotine and tar, right? Those are the things in cigarettes. What's in a vape? Just fucking weird ass chemicals you've never heard of. I'm like, is that better?
Well, so I live in
Ohio. Like Skittles, though, so it's fine. I'm like, is it?
Yeah. So I live in Ohio now, and we have legalized marijuana for recreational use.
Which is
And I live
delicious.
across the street. I live across the street from a dispensary.
Yes.
So I'm pretty well stocked at the moment.
Right. Now that shit, work away. That's great. It's good for you. Makes you feel good.
Edibles.
Yeah, no problems, right? But like, what's in a vape? I don't fucking know. Nobody knows. The whole point of a vape was to get you to stop smoking. And if you've taken up a vape as opposed to smoking, then you're like, well, you're not doing it right. You know what I mean?
Well, everybody. So this was the stop smoking portion of the Smark Avengers. Welcome to Smark Avengers, by the way. My name's Corey, and this is Dylan. John is not with us today.
John had to go visit his children in the insane asylum this week.
He had them locked away. They're totally healthy and fine, by the way. He just can't be bothered raising
No,
them.
they got locked away a long time ago, and John goes to see them every so often. And they only have like visiting hours like every so often, you know, because
they put him in a room with a bucket of fish heads.
Yeah, it's an insane asylum, so like you can't just like it's not like every week or whatever. It's like certain days, whenever they're calm. You got it. That's the time. So you get a phone call like today's the day. Come see them. They're not moving around that much. John's like, all right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go see them. You know. So.
What's your John impersonation? Let's act this out.
Who am I? Am I the kids?
I'll be the worker at the insane asylum.
Okay. Are you phoning me?
Yeah. Well, okay. No, I'm gonna be the worker in insane asylum. You're gonna be John.
So I'm turning up.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to this.
No, I'm calling you to let you know that you can visit your children.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
You gotta do your John voice.
Okay.
Okay. Ring, 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 ring.
Hello?
Hello, sir. This is Frederick from the Shady Side Mental Institution.
All right, mate.
Yes, we just wanted to call and let you know if you wanted to see sweet little Sarah and Tiny Tommy that they're pretty well behaved today. They've consumed all of their fish heads, and they've stopped rolling around on the floor so much.
Oh, that sounds great. I'm gonna go right now.
And scene.
I'm gonna get in my car.
Does John have a car? Does John drive?
I don't know. Yeah,
see, he's a man of mystery.
He's gonna visit his kids.
Maybe he takes the train. Does the train go that way? See, you guys have like a railway system. We don't do that so much here.
Well, you know what's funny is that both the United Kingdom and the United States both to be well known for their train systems, and not so more anymore.
Yeah.
In Ireland, it's really bad. It used to be great. You used to be able to go across like the whole country by the train. Now you can't really. You can only go down like the East Coast by train, and that's about it, which is not good. Fortunately, I live close to the East Coast, so I'm grand. I don't know what it's like in mainland UK. It's probably not great. John would be able to tell you. I don't know if they do a train to the mental institution. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's a stop right outside of it.
I've never been. None of my kids.
What happens when people escape. That's why it becomes such a problem, because they can just hop the train.
They just get on the train. One of them drives the train. You're like, this is. We should not have allowed this. This is a bad idea.
Somehow end up in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you get the train all the way here? I'm like, well, the Channel Tunnel. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
The tunnel.
Yeah, makes sense. We built a tunnel over to France. Why wouldn't you take it to France and then to the rest of Europe? You know what I mean? You got us there. Oops, that was our fault. You know,
oops.
That's what Brexit was all about. Trying to get rid of that.
That's really trying to keep people from taking the train to Azerbaijan.
Yeah, it's a long way, man. It's a lot of diesel, and that's bad for the environment.
Well, as you could probably guess, today is kind of a special episode in the sense that it is one of our talk about whatever / New Year's prediction episodes.
I think today's gonna be a very special episode.
We're off to a grand start.
Man, I hope John was able to say hello to his kids for us.
I do too. I really hope that sweet little Sarah and tiny Tommy are doing well.
I haven't seen them in so long, man.
I hear they've grown.
Well, I would assume so. Thank you.
So, a couple episodes ago, we did our best deaths episode. and we talked about, or John, was it John or you who talked about Craven's Last Hunt?
I think John did that.
I think it was John.
Because I knew he was going to talk about that. I knew he was.
Yeah. John had some pretty classic choices there, because he also did Scourge's Last Stand.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
I don't remember.
No, that's okay.
I've been drunk for the last 3 months, so don't worry about it.
Hey, no, that's understandable.
Is it?
So speaking of Kraven the Hunter, though, the Kraven the Hunter movie is finally out. It is another in the Sony Spider-Verse, but not Spider-Man movies. And it comes out on December 13th, so it came out a couple of weeks ago.
We've already seen it.
Yep. That Aaron Taylor Johnson looked great.
For the benefit of this show, we're gonna pretend we haven't seen it. Yeah.
We don't want to break immersion.
No.
So anyway, I was looking at the Rotten Tomatoes. It is sitting at 15%, which is at the same rating that Morbius was at.
It's a good percentage.
Good percent. 15. Yeah, 15 out of 100.
Listen, man, I like my films the way I like my beer. 15%.
So it's at 15%, which is still better than Madam Web, which I think finished at 11% overall.
We have to do a show where we watch Madam Web.
Oh,
we did a show where I had to watch Morbius. We're going to do a show where I have to watch Madam Web.
I mean, I think all of us were supposed to watch Morbius, but I absolutely didn't.
You didn't do it because you're a coward.
I am a coward. Well, no, I just dislike Jared Leto to such an extreme degree.
I hate Jared Leto. I really do. I think he's such a bad actor. I don't know why he's still an actor. I don't understand it. I think he's a creep. But
yeah.
The brief was to watch Morbius. I watched Morbius. If I had to take that bullet, the least I could have imagined from you, a fellow podcast attendee, you could also take that bullet because we all had to watch that show and you didn't. And I felt, honestly, a little bit betrayed by my good friend Corey, who's never let me down at all, except for all those times he did let me down. And this time, you let me down because you didn't watch Morbius. Whenever I had to go through it, I thought part of the fun was if I have to go through this pain, you would go through this pain. We'll share it. You know what I mean? Like
did John watch it?
Like a husband whose wife is going through pregnancy. He's like, I also feel that pain. Punch me in the uterus or wherever I think the uterus is. You know, that happens, right? I think that's what happens. Yeah. I've never been pregnant or been around a pregnant person, but I assume this is what happens.
One would think.
Yeah, one would think, and I'm one, I think. So, if I had to watch Morbius, like you could have taken that bullet too. I think that was rude. If we're all on the same show, we should all be taking bullets for each other. It's just all bullets, a lot of guns. Well, you're in America, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of bullets going on.
Yeah, who's shooting the guns? Is it Gun
Morbius.
Bunny?
Morbius is shooting the gun, and he's
Morbius
a very bad.
Guns.
He's a terrible shot.
He uses his teeth, unless it's the animated series, and he uses his weird little sucker hands.
He uses his hands in the animated series.
Well, and they plasma.
He sucks the plasma out of people.
Yeah, that's totally not blood.
No, plasma is different from blood, as we know, because we're both biology majors.
So today's episode is a little bit of talk about whatever you want. We wanted to bring up just Kraven the Hunter because we briefly talked about Madam Web when it came out and how we were like, this doesn't look like it's going to be any good, and it wasn't. And Kraven the Hunter didn't look like it was going to be any good, and it wasn't.
We don't know if it was or not.
Well, I'm just saying if the Rotten Tomato percentage is at the same level of Morbius, I do not have high hopes.
Well, that's the thing. Like I said this to you off mic a moment ago, but I'm like, you have to take that stuff with a pinch of salt because a lot of people who vote for this stuff are voting in like a very biased manner. I don't think everybody that watched Kraven the Hunter or Madam Web is going online and going to IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes or whatever and giving it a negative rating. I think a certain amount of people are definitely doing that. And they may be doing that whether or not they've actually seen the film. So I don't want to just take those blanket numbers at face value because I think that's a little bit deceptive. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
I think honestly we have to see the film ourselves to understand how bad it is. It might not
Sure.
be that bad. It might just be people saying it's bad. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. So if we could move away from Craven the Hunter, because
We can do
I have
that,
no interest in discussing it any further.
but we can't because we haven't seen it.
That's true. Um, I saw something like saying that they wanted Craven to be the villain in one of the upcoming Spider-Man movies, but they couldn't because Sony had already committed to making a Craven the Last Hunter movie.
Okay.
That's wild to me.
Would you be
I
interested?
call him Craven the Last Hunter because of Craven the Last Hunt. I just realized there's many more hunters. It does not end with Craven.
Would you be interested in seeing Craven as a Spider-Man villain?
No, probably not. Yeah. I feel like the movies they've made, they've already used the main Spider-Man villains. I can't
No,
imagine like, well,
they haven't used.
Hobgoblin
They haven't used Hydra Man
or Hobgoblin.
or Hobgoblin. I don't know if you're being dismissive about the Hobgoblin, but we've talked about this before on the
No,
show.
I just know how intensely you and John feel about the
Me and John
Hobgoblin,
are
so I
very
wanted to give
big
you
fans
credit.
of the Hobgoblin. And I think a story can be told there for sure because there is already a goblin presence in the Spider-Man universe. You can do a
So
Hobgoblin story.
is that your New Year's resolution that you hope to see a Hobgoblin announcement, whether it be a standalone movie or a villain in an MCU movie?
I don't know because here's the thing. Obviously, if you've been listening to the show for the last 720 episodes that we've done, approximately throughout the last 24 years, I am a big Carnage fan. I'm a very big
Yes.
Carnage fan. This has been well documented. This is on the wiki. If you go to the Smark Avengers Wikipedia page, it's like 80% talking about how much I love Carnage
Crisps.
and crisps. Oh fuck, I love crisps, dude. Love a good crisp, man. Dude, if you ever come over here, I'm gonna show you so many crisps. It's gonna blow your fucking mind. You'll be like, oh, dude, my
Well, I told
taste
you if
buds.
I end up at Jungle. Well, I told you about Jungle Gyms in Cincinnati that has like a whole like UK food section. When I go there next time, I'm just gonna call you and be like,
Are
"All
you gonna
right, this
get?
is what I'm looking at."
Have you been there?
Yeah, I've been there twice now. No,
Have
I've
you
only been there
seen?
once.
Have you seen like their? Do they have Tato?
Probably. I mean, they
Okay.
quite literally. It's a massive store, and
Well,
like it's all international food.
here's the thing. Tato is a very Irish thing. North, South, doesn't matter. Tato crisps are Ireland thing. I don't think they cross over to the UK. So I don't even know if John gets Tato crisps. Tato crisps will change your life. They're the best. They're so good. I feel sorry for all the other nations that don't have Tato crisps. You know what I mean? They're the best.
Yeah,
So if you do go there and you see like Tato crisps, get them.
yeah. I mean, I told you I'm just gonna call you when I'm there in the UK section. Like, what do I need to get, Dylan?
Tato crisp, eat, done. Problem solved.
I remember I was there. I think when I was there, no, I've been there twice. Because the first time I was there, I remember talking to Steve and being like, "Hey, what should I get?" And he was just like saying Iron Brute.
Don't get no, but I tell you what, Iron Brew's nice. It's not the be all and end all though.
Yeah.
I do like Iron Brew. It's a good drink, but like it's not like it's not gonna change your life too much. You know.
Fair enough.
Anyway, my point was, obviously I like Carnage, but I love Carnage so much that I didn't see the Venom film with Carnage in it
Yeah.
because I like Carnage too much. Do you know what I mean? I was just convinced that they wouldn't do a very good job with it. And the trailers I seen were just not convincing at all. And I like Woody Harrelson. I would not ever have picked Woody Harrelson to be Carnage because he's not that kind of guy. You
Well, we
need a
told this story in like one of our early episodes about how Woody Harrelson's father was a contract killer. So I
right,
mean,
but
who better to
that's
play a killer than Woody Harrelson?
well. Have you seen that film?
There will be carnage. No, probably not.
Right, bingo. So if he's the perfect guy for the role, why are none of us interested in watching that film?
Didn't John watch it though?
Of
See,
course,
that's a
John
stupid
watched it.
question because
John
of
watches
course
like
John watched
fucking
it.
a billion films a year.
Yeah, that's a stupid question because John will watch anything. I've
Of
learned.
course, John watched it. John's already watched Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, he's already
He's too
seen it. He got
busy at
into
the
an
insane
advanced screening.
asylum to talk to us about it.
He went to the movie premiere. He went to the red carpet and he just showed the security guards his letterbox, and they were like, "Oh, of course, this way,
Come on
sir."
in. Come on in, sir. You're clearly qualified.
He was wearing his Sunday best.
And his Doctor Doom mask.
I thought he said Doctor Doolittle mask for a second.
No,
He came in riding a snail like Doctor Doolittle.
that's a very different mask. The Eddie Murphy one, because
No.
he should not have been wearing that mask. That was inappropriate as hell, man.
Yeah, John's a controversial figure. The controversial John.
I think it's fair to say that out of the three of us, John is definitely the most controversial one.
Yeah, he's constantly going. He's constantly going blue,
pushing the envelope all the time. And I get it, man. 2 of his kids are like incarcerated for being criminally insane. I understand. He's got issues, but it's a bit much sometimes, isn't it?
That's true. It's a bit much.
He needs to slow down.
Take it easy, John. Take it
easy.
easy. Take a couple of deep breaths.
Yeah, just do a little bit of heroin, like slow down. You know what I mean?
So
anyway,
so Dylan, do you have any other like things that like comic book related you'd like to see in the year 2025?
I would love to see the Beast get a really good redemption arc.
Do you think? So you don't think that right now the whole like it's Beast, but like a clone version of Beast from like the 1980s?
Well, the problem is the original Beast is dead.
Yeah.
And so this new clone Beast is just like, I'm Beast, but I only have these memories. Goodbye. Does that seem satisfactory to you?
No, not really. I mean, I kind of hope they do the same thing for Colossus, although I don't necessarily believe Colossus has anything to be like apologetic for.
What's Colossus? He did this thing with like his brother, right?
Yeah. So what happened was there was a mutant who had the ability to basically alter reality by writing. So his brother Mikhail had captured this man and was basically telling him like, you're going to take control of my brother and he's going to be our spy in Krakoa. So like, because he's Colossus and people know to trust him, he got put on the Quiet Council, and basically he was a spy and an informant for his brother. And when it got revealed, like it was like a big to do, and it was like, I mean, that's not his fault. I mean, literally, he had no control over the situation. But people are like, oh, like there needs to be Colossus has to redeem himself in some manner. It's like, why? He didn't do shit. Like he had like a girlfriend that he ended up killing because his brother had him kill his girlfriend.
He killed his own girlfriend.
Yeah. There was just some mutant. She was like, I don't think she was a named character for the most part. She kind of existed to be Colossus's girlfriend and to show like the depths to which his brother had control over him, had him break her neck and then bury her body.
Mm-hmm.
Because what they're really teasing is they keep teasing the Colossus had a relationship with Domino in an X-Force book a couple of years ago. So they kind of keep going back to like teasing Colossus and Domino as a couple.
Colossus and Domino?
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
It was sort of like he needed her to kind of like get him out of his shell, so to speak.
Wasn't he already out of his shell?
Well, I mean, so what had happened? So this happened as part of the Phoenix Force 5 story, where he was one of the people who got possessed by the Phoenix, and as a result, he couldn't control his power anymore. So he was constantly in a state of flux, shifting in and out of steel. And because he was wanted as a war criminal for being one of the Phoenix Force 5, he ended up joining Cable and his team of X-Force, which I think was Dr. Nemesis, Forge, Cable, Domino, and Colossus.
There might have been another character. I can't remember though.
Okay.
It wasn't a bad series. I remember enjoying it.
Seems a bit weird.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, your hopes is for a redemption storyline for Beast.
Well, I mean, I just plucked that out of thin air, really. You know.
Yeah. Well, I know that right now he's a prominent part of the X-Men book that Stegman's on. That's the Cyclops-led book, and he's kind of a prominent character in that because they had a nice little scene where they were talking about how he's having to reteach himself how to use things because technology has advanced since his memory was implanted.
1984.
Yeah. So he's having to learn how to use smartphones and shit.
I guess, man. I'm sure there's good stuff to tell in that story, but I just wish they hadn't done Beast so bad.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's just not cool. But there's a bunch of stuff, man. I haven't really thought about it too much. I probably should have because I knew this podcast was gonna happen. But I wish that Spider-Man would be good again.
Not a fan of what they're doing with Spider-Man?
I haven't been interested in Spider-Man for a long time. Just
so
not interested.
You're not feeling the Mary Jane and Paul stuff?
No, I don't like any of that. I don't like the Ben Reilly stuff. I don't like the Green Goblin stuff. I don't like any of this. This isn't.
Nobody likes the Paul storyline.
None of this is good Spider-Man stuff. You know what I mean? It's just not fun. I don't like it. Just tell a good Spider-Man story. Why is it so hard? Marvel, please reach out to me, or I'll reach out to you. Just send me your email. I'll write you a great Spider-Man story because I'm fucking great. You've heard our stories. You've heard our pitches. You've heard how we can kill people. We're really good at this. We know comics. I can write an incredible Spider-Man story that will make people so interested. And so wow, look at this. Wow, Spider-Man's cool again. Instead of all this fucking dicking around they're doing. I don't know, man. It's Spider-Man and X-Men have always been my two favorites. And there's been a long time when I've been reading Spider-Man and I'm like, why is this my favorite? Do you know what I mean? And it's so funny because I came in with the Clone Saga where everybody said this sucked. I'm like, well, write something better than this. A lot of the stuff that's come out after the Clone Saga has not been as fun or interesting. And what's up with that? One of the things I don't like about Spider-Man is when it gets too grand. They lose a lot of the focus of Spider-Man. It gets too otherworldly or too grandiose. And I'm like, well, you're talking about Spider-Man here. He's a low-level guy.
Yeah.
He's, let's keep it grounded. Let's keep it fun. He doesn't have to fight space aliens or people from another dimension.
Thing for me. It bothers me sometimes, Batman's a member of the Justice League right now. Actually, they're doing with DC is everyone's a member of the Justice League. So they're doing
Are we a member of the Justice League?
Could be.
I don't want to. It's too much responsibility. I don't want to do that.
We could do it on satellite duty, and just go up and watch a bunch of monitors.
It seems like a lot of effort. I don't want to have to commit myself.
I mean, it's in a space station.
I don't want to go to space.
Why don't you want to go to space?
Why the fuck would I go to space? I'll lose an inch of my height. And I can't lose any more height, Corey.
So you would go from 7 apples high to 6 apples high?
I would lose an apple at least.
Would turn apple
is that going up and going down? Am I gonna lose 2 apples? I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't want to do it.
But yeah, to kind of go back, it is weird whenever Batman is doing these interstellar threats, but then is having issues solving a murder in Gotham and Detective Comics.
I think that too. I always wonder why they do these big, grandiose things with Batman to show that he's a big player, but then all of his stuff in Gotham is just street thugs and stuff. I'm like, well, shouldn't he just be that guy? That's what Batman is. It's like when you see Spider-Man on the Avengers, you're I get it, but you're why?
Yeah,
he doesn't need to do this. It's nice to say, oh, Spider-Man's on the Avengers, as a bit in the story, but as a character, Spider-Man does his job fucking exceptionally well. Same with Daredevil. Daredevil doesn't need to be part of the Avengers. He does.
Well,
What
he's
he
never
does.
really been. He's never
Right,
part of the
because
Avengers,
he doesn't
isn't he?
have to be. He's Daredevil. Everybody knows what he does. Beats up fucking criminals. That's what he does. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to get complicated with it. And I feel
See, I
like,
kind of feel this.
like that should happen with Wolverine. Wolverine was just an X-Man, and then he was like fucking everywhere, and it got really complicated. And then you're like, well, what's going on here?
They're kind of doing that right now with Storm, where Storm is a member of the Avengers, but they also have the foresight to go that she's not on any of the X-Men teams. Also, I think they've made her and Wolverine a pair again.
No, I don't know why I like that.
Yeah, they pair them up quite frequently.
Don't like it. Why?
I don't know. I mean, well, Gail Simone has kind of been doing a lot of like flirty kind of stuff with basically Wolverine and everyone.
Yeah, well, that's Gail Simone, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you've ever read Secret Six, you would know that was basically just 6 characters in a constant orgy.
Everybody's fucking everybody in the Gail Simone book. Let's go for it.
Yep.
You know
Yeah,
I mean?
I mean, Birds of Prey, you know.
Dude, it's what happens, man. It's a risk you gotta take. If you're in a Gail
That's
Simone
risky.
book, you're gonna get dicked at some point. Write that one down.
That's a shirt right there.
Yeah, but send that to Gail Simone.
We'll send her, if Gail, we'll send you a free shirt.
She's gonna fucking love it. If I know her at all,
she probably would. Actually,
I don't think, dude. I think she'd be like, "Well, you guys are misogynistic assholes." I'm like, "Oh well."
And then
No.
we get a cease and desist, and we have to take her name off the shirt.
We didn't put her name on the shirt.
I thought we were putting her name on the shirt.
I thought that was just that quote I did.
Well, I mean, I thought the shirt said if you're in a Gail Simone book, you're gonna get dicked.
But that's true though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I think she might have a problem with us putting her name on a shirt.
Right, but we can't just take her name off it because then it wouldn't make any sense. So we would just have to take off the whole shirt.
I mean, it would just say in a blank book, you're gonna get dicked, and then
That
you can
doesn't
just
make
fill
any
it in yourself.
sense. It doesn't make
You
any
just
sense.
fill it in yourself.
What?
You could just fill it in yourself, like whatever book you want to put.
A Grant Morrison book, you're gonna get dicked.
Well, I mean, if you read Grant's Green Lantern run, that was one of the things Grant was like going like Hal Jordan should be pansexual, right? And DC was like, what? And he's like, Grant was like, yeah, I mean, you know, Hal Jordan's in space around aliens all the time. Who's to say that the aliens prescribe to our binary gender, you know, roles? So technically, if Hal Jordan's fucking aliens, Hal Jordan would be pansexual, right? And DC was not happy with that.
Right, but I would say if you look at the history of Grant Morrison explaining his ideas to every major comic company, they will say, we don't like these ideas. You know what I mean?
But you sell a lot of books, so by all means.
Yes, he did. But at the same time, they can still be like, I don't want you dicking everybody, you know?
That is
Gail Simone knows what I'm talking about. Can't dick everybody.
No.
That one on the shirt too. Can't dick everybody.
Can't dick everybody.
We can try, man.
You could certainly try. So I guess that's gonna be my resolution: is that Grant gets another DC or Marvel book.
Who would you like to see Grant Morrison actually like running? So we've seen him do X-Men, and we've talked about the X-Men run extensively. And I would love to do a deep dive on that because that's one of my favorite comic runs like of all time. I read that like every year.
You know, I was wondering if we should get more into doing like not necessarily reviews, but like retrospects on stuff. We've kind of done it before, like we did Death of Superman and Nightfall and stuff, but maybe something a little more interactive. I don't know.
I would love to just talk about that Grant Morrison run because I fucking love it.
So another New Year's resolution, I would like to see I'd like to see DC do some more with their 90s characters than they have been. Like Kyle Rayner and Tim Drake and Connor Kent and stuff, because I feel like that is that wave of like 90s nostalgia going on.
Who is Connor Kent?
Connor Kent. Connor is a clone. We talked about him in the Death Superman episode. He's the Superboy, the clone of Superman that's like 16 years old.
Oh, dude, I was reading a thing about somebody today. Do you ever see like on YouTube they do reels and like shorts and stuff?
Yeah.
And they did a short about a character. Oh, what was his name? He was like buried underneath a jail for like 100 years, or whatever, and then Superman broke him out. And then
the Chained, I think, or Unchained,
yeah,
something like that.
Like Samuel.
It was in the most recent Superman run.
Is that really recent? Okay, cool.
Yeah, very recent.
The way they were talking about it, they said that what happened was Lex Luthor, in his prime or whatever, had given this guy like telekinesis powers that were like way too advanced, so they locked him up in prison. And then it turned out that the powers they gave him, they ended up giving like a limited version of that to that Superboy, right?
Superboy.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's how I know that guy, because I'm like, I just learned about that fucking thing today on the 3rd of January, 2025.
So yeah, no, that was part of that. So that whole run is like Lex Luthor's in jail, and while he's in jail, he's like trying to help Superman like run Metropolis. Like he's like, we need to team up, and like Superman's like not necessarily trusting Lex, but like they renamed LexCorp Supercorp, and then like so like suddenly he's like the CEO of this company full of like scientists. But yeah, the Unchained guy, he was one of these like ghosts of Lex Luthor's past coming back to haunt him. So like that was like the recurring theme, is all these people that Lex had wronged, and that's why he was sucking up to Superman, because he knew this was coming. He's like, there's a Lex Luthor revenge squad on the way, and I need to have Superman stand in the way for me to protect me. But yeah, Connor has tactile telekinesis, and that's how he like used super strength and stuff, because he was basically just making it look like he had Superman's powers. And then eventually, because Jeff Johns is a fucking weirdo, just decided that he just gained Kryptonian powers anyway.
Yeah,
so like
Superboy.
Yeah. Well, and then he revealed that he was not only a clone of Superman, he was a clone of Superman and Lex Luthor. So he has two dads.
How modern.
Yeah, right. A modern family, one would say.
That's so cute. Superman. Imagine if Superman and Lex Luthor were your father. When you were growing up in that house, and they're always like bickering at each other, you know what I mean? And you're like, I just want to play baseball. But you have to play baseball with Lex Luthor, because whenever you play baseball with Superman, he throws the ball too fast and you can't catch it.
No.
You know?
So there was a Superboy run that was all about Connor trying to basically trying to prove to himself that Lex Luthor could be a good person. And I remember like his sister has like some sort of disease that rendered her catatonic, and like Lex cured her, and Connor was like, oh, see, he's a good guy. And then Lex immediately put her back in that catatonic state with the line, Lex giveth and he taketh away. Basically just being a dick. Just to show he could do it if he wanted to.
Because he's God.
Yeah. So like that was like a big thing in Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman, was like Lex Luthor coming to terms with the fact that he's always just been jealous of Superman. He wanted to be the world's savior, but Superman came around and took that away from him.
I have to read that. I really do. Like yeah, I've heard it's super fucking good.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously I love Grant Morrison, but I haven't read like enough of his stuff. I need to read more. And I've heard his Batman run is like really complicated, whereas his
I don't think it's complicated, but it's I like it.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. He there's a lot of he was on that Batman run for a good while.
Yes.
So he had a lot of time to work on it.
Whereas his Superman run is a bit more like, this is it. This is a Superman run.
So yeah, All-Star Superman was just that run, and then when the New 52 launched, they gave Grant Action Comics, and Grant decided to use that to tell the story of like Superman just starting out and being like really young, and more about fighting like corruption and government issues.
Yes.
So like,
well, I really want to read I want to read the Superman run because I remember him talking about it in the book.
Yeah.
And talking about how like people didn't understand his take on Superman because they're like, it's not whatever, and he's like, well, it's Superman. He's like a very innocent man, but also like this is it's comics.
Yeah.
It's a comic, dude. You gotta read it. Good guy wins, bad guy loses. Like, we can be silly, we can be outlandish. Like, it's a comic. Like, you're allowed to suspend your disbelief when you read it. You have to understand that like a lot of the parameters you think are real, they're not real in a comic. It's a comic. I'm allowed to go outside the boundaries of shit, And it's weird because I always felt like with a lot of Grant Morrison stuff, he went within the boundaries of whatever he had. Like, again, if we go back to the X-Men run, I feel like he went within every boundary that he was given, like, but right to the edge of it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he did
and then, of course,
everything he did in the X-Men run. Like, it like pushed that boundary a lot, but he didn't do anything like revolutionary. He didn't change the game that much. He did stuff that was very X-Men like.
Well, I mean,
Grant
did kill Magneto, and that
but
that
it was
pissed off some
justified.
people.
But it was totally justified. If you read that run, you can see why he thought Magneto deserved to die. I don't think that's within the parameters of the X-Men comics. Don't you think that by that point Magneto had done enough terrible, shitty things to deserve to die?
See, that's the problem. I know John really loves Magneto, but like Magneto is, for all intents and purposes, a terrorist. You know,
correct. And part of it is he uses that old like I was a Holocaust survivor, therefore I know what's right kind of thing, which is like a real heel move, right?
Yeah.
It's him like intentionally trying to use other people's sympathy to
he's trying to
boost his own cause
to justify his actions.
Exactly. He's such a heel, and that's what Grant Morrison said. Like, this guy's clearly a horrible person.
Yeah.
And then
well, and then he's, like he says that, but then he's also hanging out with like fucking Toad and stuff,
But then when you read Grant Morrison's run, Morrison starts like putting people into like concentration camps and stuff, and you're like, well, okay, now this makes more sense. He's actually being the person he doesn't want to be, but he's doing it because this is his like twisted justification of morality. And you're like, well, maybe Magneto does deserve to die because he doesn't understand anything.
That reminds me of the Avengers versus X-Men storyline from a few years ago, and like Cyclops in Captain America having a very intense verbal sparring with Captain America being like, oh, the Phoenix is coming back, we're gonna deal with this. And Cyclops is like, no, it's a mutant problem. Captain America's like, oh, it affects everybody. You have to understand it. And Cyclops is like, yeah, no, you've never helped us ever. Like, we don't care about you. You obviously don't care about us. We'll handle our own shit like we have always done.
Correct.
Because it's like, when you think about that, like, why haven't the Avengers been called in to deal with Magneto? Probably because if Iron Man rolled into Magneto, he'd just get crushed.
Right. Exactly. What's he gonna do? And like, I feel like there definitely has been times where like obviously because Magneto was like a world-ending kind of like threat. There's been times when the Avengers definitely have been called in to fight against Magneto.
Yeah.
But like realistically,
Gotham is presented as like one of the worst cities in all of DC Comics world. But like, if Superman, like if Batman wasn't such a dick and just let Superman in there, he'd fucking clean that place up in like a day and a half.
Yes, correct.
Because it's like, oh, so. Two-Face is at it again. And like, no, he's not, because I just got him.
I killed him.
The Joker's poison. Nope, no, it's not, because I got him.
Have we talked about this? Where like, if Batman just like killed the Joker, like that would save so many lives.
I feel like if we've not, it's definitely like a recurring topic of like, discussion amongst comic book fans.
I feel like that's the truth. Like, the fact that the Batman just keeps like the Batman doesn't want to kill anybody, but he will happily let a very clear mass murderer who has killed people that Batman is close to just keep getting out of prison.
Well, that's the big crux in that's the big crux in the Jason Todd storyline, was like when he came back as Red Hood, was he was like, listen, I understand that you don't want to kill like Penguin or Two-Face or whatever, But why him? Yeah. He killed me. You know, he took me away from you. Like you didn't you didn't want revenge? Like what the fuck?
It's like Joker has been so cavalier with the fact that he will kill people just to get Batman to look at him.
Well, and they've also acknowledged that Joker knows that he's Bruce Wayne and just doesn't care.
Right. So like there's so many reasons why Batman should like just get rid of Joker forever, but he never does. And you're like, I understand from a comic point of view why you don't. Obviously, you have to like keep this very popular character alive. But from a logistic point of view, I don't know why, as Batman, you would like, because the other option is, oh, I'll just arrest Joker and he goes into prison and then he gets out of prison and they kills loads of people and then I arrest him and put him in prison again. Like it's a cycle; it never ends.
You know, it reminds me of like that. Actually, just reminded me of like how many villains actually know that Batman's Bruce Wayne and just don't care. Like I know Ra's al Ghul does.
Yep.
I know that Joker does.
Yep.
I think at one point Two-Face knew.
Well, that's. I mean, which of his faces knew?
The Harvey Dent side, because I remember that was a thing. Was that the Harvey Dent side was keeping it a secret from the Two-Face side?
That's nice.
Like you were being funny, and that's actual truth statement.
What was I being funny?
I don't know. It felt like you were being funny.
Hard to tell.
Hard to tell.
Am I ever being funny? I don't know.
I remember there was like a low-level thug that knew.
Yeah.
And like, cause he thought he could like ransom it for money, but all the villains were like, "How fucking dare you like say that you know that that's Batman?"
Yeah. I feel like that happened to Spider-Man though too. At some point, somebody was like, "I know it's Spider-Man" because I saw him like change out of his mask, and people were like, "Why would I believe you? Like, what the fuck? Why would it be this fucking Peter Parker kid? You kidding me?
Yeah.
There's no way we got beat up by Peter Parker. Look at this.
He can't even pay his rent.
Yeah, look at him. He fucking simps over his own grandmother. There's no way we got beat up by that guy. You know, there's none of like that was actually like a Dr. Octopus bit where Dr. Octopus like unmasks him and he's like, Peter Parker, this is bullshit. This isn't him.
Then they just do that in the movie.
You fucking kidding me?
No, they did it in the cartoon. Because I remember they did that in the cartoon where Peter was working with Dr. Octopus and like he just didn't believe that he was actually Spider-Man.
Well, there was a bit. I'm sure there was a bit in the comics where like Spider-Man had the flu. I was really sick, and so like Dr. Octopus like beat the shit out of him and then unmasked him, and then he was like, well, of course he would not fight the way he's supposed to fight because he's just some kid. This isn't the real Spider-Man. Yeah, the real Spider-Man would have like beat the shit out of me. But because I beat him up, it's just some kid, and he didn't realize that like Spider-Man had like a really bad case of the flu or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It happens, you know? Maybe that did happen in the TV show as well. I don't remember.
I clearly remember it in the cartoon because I remember that like he and Octopus were wearing lab coats over their costumes. So he was like walking around with like his Spider-Man like gloves and his shoes on, very plainly visible underneath his white lab coat.
Well, you gotta give off the image.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta present yourself to the people. You know?
Yeah.
I like that though.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a pretty good episode if I remember. I was not part of the Spider-Man animated series conversation that you and John had. Now, the fun fact about it is, while I'm not a big Spider-Man fan, I did watch that cartoon like all the time.
Great show.
Great show. You know, I was talking to somebody recently about animated series that had fucking banger like entrance theme, opening songs.
Yes.
Spider-Man's a good one.
Great one.
Batman Beyond's fucking sick.
Yes, that was good.
Yeah. I'd love to do a rewatch of Batman Beyond.
That would be all right, man. Show. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Such a good show. Also, there was like this series in the early 2000s called The Batman. It had a really good intro as well. And I found out later on in life that The Edge from U2 is the one who wrote it.
Is that okay?
I just thought that was weird.
Yeah. Well, they're weird guys, man.
U2? Absolutely.
They're weird kids. Weird boys.
Are they beloved in Ireland?
No.
Are they the favorite sons?
No.
The lovable lads?
No. No, sir. I think they've got too Hollywood for us. You know what I mean?
I recently found out that the reason Bono wears those sunglasses is his eyes are fucked.
Well, he's just a little bitch. That's why. Bono, if you're listening to this, I meant that.
I'll fight you.
Yeah, fuck you, Bono. I could beat Bono in a fight.
So, you know what else we should do?
What?
Wrap up the show.
I think we should keep talking for like 7 more hours.
I'm sure we could, but let's try to keep it contained.
Well,
some of our episodes have been a little lengthy lately.
Let's be honest here. We didn't do a great job, at least I didn't, about talking about our proper years.
Our resolutions.
Yeah. So,
this was honestly the resolutions was going to be an episode for the 3 of us.
Well,
that way
John
we would have had time
to go
to
and visit his kids
go
at
visit
the
his
insane
kids.
asylum.
Can that be the thumbnail? Is just John visiting his children in an insane asylum without any explanation?
How am I supposed to draw 2 insane-looking kids?
I don't know. Just draw regular children.
All right, fair enough.
I just want to share the thumbnail with John without any explanation until the episode comes out.
Yeah, but neither of us are on it.
Yeah, exactly.
The only person in the thumbnail is someone that's not on the show.
Exactly.
Okay, I can do that. No problem. But regardless, John, I hope your children learn how to not be criminally insane. I really do. But
Sweet Sarah and Tiny Tony or
Tiny
Tommy.
Tom, whatever his name is.
Tiny Tommy Two-Tone.
He's tiny, whatever his name is. He's pretty small.
Yep.
Small boy. Real
Tiny
small
lad.
boy. John, what's up with that? Why are you making small boys, But
so it's a brand new year for John. So John will be starting over on our next episode. We'll be hearing like that he's already watched like 15 and a half movies.
Yes. Whenever we get to John's thing, he's gonna say like all sorts of like new films he's watched. But before we get to Corey, what do you think? Let's go over your proper like wishes for the new year. So start of a new year, 2025. Like let's start it up right. What do you think is gonna happen? What do you want to happen?
Yes.
There's not comics. Like you could just say whatever you like, films or
sure
life, whatever you want. Man.
I'm hoping that that the James Gunn DCU gets off to a good start. I've not really watched any superhero movies for a while, but I will make an exception for Superman. I'm also really curious about Creature Commandos, and that's coming out first. But I love monsters, so what are you supposed to do about that? I am hoping that there are less big crossover storylines. I've always hated crossover storylines or event comics because it disrupts the regular monthly books in such an ugly way. There's nothing like, oh yeah, here's this complete run I have of like Batman, but 2 issues out of like 15, it's going to be telling like part of a completely different story that when it goes back to the regular story, they're not even going to address. It just feels like a waste.
Mm-hmm.
And I am hoping that so DC took a couple of chances. There's a new Batgirl book with Cassandra Cain, who's my favorite Batgirl. I hope that continues and goes well. And I'm also hoping the Two-Face comic they put out is going to go well. I've not read the first issue yet, but just the fact that there's a Two-Face comic book is really interesting to me.
Why is that interesting?
Just because it's a villain you don't think that would get a title. I mean, there's been a Penguin book recently. There's a couple of Joker books that came out a couple of years ago. And very famously in the 1970s and 80s, there was a Joker book. But yeah, just Two-Face is not a character that I would think would lead his own book.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? So they're giving it a shot. I hope it goes well.
Me too.
What about you? What are your hopes for 2025?
I hope that Hydra Man becomes like a main villain in Spider-Man. Maybe because I end up writing Spider-Man. Marvel, maybe talk to me about this.
Let's hear it.
You know what I mean? Because I got some ideas, man. I got some real good ideas, but Marvel are willing to play ball. They play ball. I mean, not willing to pay me money in order to provide them with scripts, which I think is just rude.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you agree. Um, Other than that, though, I would really hope. So I think we've kind of talked a lot about how Craven the Hunter is probably going to be the last Sony
Yeah, you hope that
Spider-Man
they learned
film.
their lesson on this one. I mean,
Yeah,
that's 3 in a row that have been garbage.
I feel like this one is the one where like, all right, we're done. It's not gonna work. We're
Well,
done with.
then and Venom came out, so it's really 4.5 or 4 in a row.
Well, I haven't seen Venom, so I don't know if that was good or bad or not. But they feel like Craven the Hunter might be their last foray into that, and they're probably going to forget about that whole franchise, which is interesting in a way where you're like, well, are you opening up the Spider-Man franchise to somebody else? Or are you just gonna like sit on this and not let anybody else have it? I don't know what's gonna happen there. I would hope that we could, like, they tried their best to try to make a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man, which to me is bananas
Ambitious.
because you need Spider-Man to make A, Venom, and B, Craven the Hunter
Yeah.
interesting characters, and also C, Madam Web interesting characters. Without those people, without Spider-Man, you don't have a good story. You seem to forget that the whole crux of those villains or people, those characters being involved in the story is that they are involved with the Spider-Man story and not the other way around, right?
Yeah.
Spider-Man isn't getting involved with the Craven the Hunter storyline. Craven the Hunter is getting involved with the Spider-Man storyline, etc., etc. Venom doesn't just turn up. The Venom turns up because he wants to beat up Spider-Man. That's the point of Venom, and so forth and so forth. So, I would like to see a better treatment of a lot of those kind of Spider-Man villains in the future, and we might see that because obviously Sony are like wringing their hands of the whole Spider-Man thing at the moment. I would love to see like a better treatment of all that stuff. I don't know. Um, Obviously, I would love to see Hobgoblin and Hydra Man in a better cinematic universe. I don't know. You know, I echo one of the things you said in that I would love to see Grant Morrison come back to Marvel and do something with them because we're both big Grant Morrison fans. I would love to see the Beast be represented properly. I would love to see Gambit be like a good player. I think that Gail Simone is running Gambit right now, right?
Yeah, he's a member of the Uncanny X-Men.
I haven't read too much of the Gail Simone stuff, but I am very familiar with Gail Simone, and I have faith in her. I really
Yeah.
do.
It's
I,
been
I
I will tell you, she's done a really good job with Gambit so far.
I'm glad, man. I think she's a great writer, and I'm very happy about that. I would like to see some like really good Deadpool comics as well, like really good. I would love to see like Spider-Man do like I think I said this earlier, but like I would love to see Spider-Man do like a real like just a Spider-Man storyline. We don't have to get too grandiose about it. We don't have to be like, oh, this is like a crossover with whatever. Just do Spider-Man stuff, man. I don't feel like a broken record here, but like people don't understand. Spider-Man's just like a fucking street level guy. He should be treated like a street level guy.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I loved about like the Onslaught saga. If you read the whole saga, it's great because you get these the big stringers like going up against Onslaught. But at the street level, whenever like there's a lot of stuff going on and there's like sentinels everywhere and like people don't know, like there's confusion. People don't know what's happening. Who was saving the day? It was Daredevil and it was Spider-Man. That's the important stuff. The day-to-day stuff. That's what Spider-Man's great at. And I'm like, we're getting too grandiose with it. I think we need to be a little bit more clued in with who Spider-Man is and what he does. So those are the things I would love to see in comics. And maybe like a good Carnage like spin-off, but like not a shitty Carnage. I don't want him to be the king of symbiotes or whatever the shit. I just want him to be like a badass, you know what I mean? Just have him kill people. That's all I want to see. You know. Man, what if Carnage killed like a load of CEOs? You know what I mean? Like he just killed loads of like fucking health insurance guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to stir stuff up.
Just
and then he became really popular, but then he just killed other people too. And they're like, well, this is you went a bit too far. And he's like, well, I'm Carnage. What do you expect? And they're like, yeah, that's true. We did put a faith in a murderer too much, you know? Wouldn't that be a great storyline?
It'd be interesting to say the least.
Fucking it's topical.
Yeah.
Because this happened 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
Two weeks ago?
About a month ago at this point, probably.
A month ago?
Probably a month ago.
Yeah.
So
that's probably right.
So that's probably gonna wrap us up for today.
One more
we want to
thing. Can I just say this real quick? I'm really sorry to interrupt you, Corey. I'm very sorry to interrupt you. But I have one more thing I want to predict.
Sure.
I know that John has to worry about his insane children in the insane asylum. And I know that you have your issues, and I have my issues. My prediction, my hope for 2025 is that the three of us have a good time. That we're happy. That's what I want, man. I don't want this to be science happy or whatever, but I'm like, all I want is for us three boys to have a lovely 2025. I want us to be happy and content and living our best lives.
I feel you.
Thank you.
I feel you. And I feel the exact same way. So, again, have a happy 2025. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Please pray for John, who's not here. His children that are definitely insane. They're definitely, all of them are very insane.